Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., a community in mourning. People in Uvalde, Texas gathered to remember the 19 children and 2 teachers killed in the classroom.
If I would have known, I would have reported him.
This morning, investigators are revealing more about the shooter as his grandfather admits he did not know guns were in the house.
The tragedy in Texas is once again highlighting school safety across the country. We're taking a look at a special agency here in Colorado tasked with keeping kids and teachers out of harm's way. Plus,
prioritizing mental health will take you inside a local classroom where time for reflection is part of the curriculum, which is more important now than ever. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady, and we got maybe a little warm up yesterday. Now, Lisa, it's going to start to feel hot out there like summer.
Yeah, it was beautiful yesterday afternoon. Really very pleasant. It's going to be about 7 to 10 degrees warmer today. We have a lot of clear skies out there, plenty of sunshine for the early morning drive, and a big warm up in store. In fact, we're going to be close to some of our normal highs for the day by 12 o'clock by lunchtime. From Rocky Mountain National Park, getting a little hint of that sunrise there on Longs Peak. Things starting to brighten up a bit. Boulder today, you're going to hit a high of about 82. Denver right around 80. Upper 70s to near 80 from Castle Rock to Parker, and more 60s in the mountains this afternoon. Take a look at some of these statewide highs. Low 80s down near Pueblo and La Junta. A lot of people are going to be traveling here over the next couple of days, and it's going to be dry on the roadways. We'll start to see a few late day thunderstorms. There's even a chance late tomorrow. I'll show you that, the timing of it coming up on Futurecast. We may see a few on Memorial Day. Details on the Super 7 Day here in just a few minutes.
And the road conditions look really nice, even up into the high country, basically dry roads all the way up to the Eisenhower-Johnson Tunnel. Here's Boulder, right by basically 28th and the diagonal over by Iris, and you can see it's moving along just fine. Nice, clear, dry conditions for us here this morning. Take a look at the overall map, and you see a lot of green out there, including to or from the airport on Pena Boulevard and on I-70, where we had some overnight restrictions. Take a look from the camera over at 225, and that eastbound side is wide open right now, so drive times out there to the airport are about 10 minutes. Pena Boulevard also about 8 minutes or so to the terminals. Now, they're not reporting any security wait times right now on the DIA website, but it has been running anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes when you get out there here. So it's going to be real busy over the next couple of days at the airport.
So we take a live look at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. 21 crosses there lining outside the school in memory of the 19 children and 2 teachers killed. President Biden says he will travel to Uvalde in the coming days to meet with the families.
We are learning the stories of these 19 children, most of them 10 years old, and 2 teachers who lost their lives. Irma Garcia's family says she sacrificed herself trying to protect the kids in her classroom, shielding students from the gunfire. These kids already showing passions for sports, art, and music.
As the families mourn, investigators are working to find out more about the shooter who took their lives too soon. The small town of Uvalde, Texas, coming together overnight to pray for the victims and their families after Tuesday's deadly shooting at Robb Elementary School. Authorities say 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, armed with an AR-15 style weapon, stormed into a classroom, barricaded himself inside, and opened fire. 19 children lost their lives inside that classroom, along with 2 teachers. For responding officers, this was personal. Many had their own children in harm's way.
All in that unit, stand by. Do not attempt to get closer. We got shots fired.
Officials say officers shot and killed the suspect roughly 40 minutes to an hour after his first encounter with a school resource officer at the building entrance. Authorities say the suspect turned 18 just 9 days ago. The ATF says just 1 day after his birthday, he bought an AR-15 style rifle. 3 days later, he bought a second one, and 4 days later, he was at Robb Elementary School. Ramos's grandfather tells ABC's Matt Gutman he didn't know his grandson had weapons.
If I would have known, I would have reported him.
Messages obtained by ABC News also reveal a chilling warning just minutes before the shooting. The suspected gunman texted a 15-year-old girl in Germany, first describing an argument with his grandmother over paying his phone bill. Later, he writes, "I'm gonna go shoot up an elementary school right now." Investigators are now poring over his social media. The school superintendent has ended the school year early.
My heart was broken today. We're a small community, and we'll need your prayers to get us through this.
A Customs and Border Protection official told ABC News there were 4 Border Patrol agents, members of elite specialized units, who engaged and stopped the shooter along with state and local officers.
Boulder police say they arrested a 14-year-old student in connection to threats made against Casey Middle School. Officers say the teenager threatened a school shooting at the celebrations planned for the last day of school, which is today. Officials announced extra security at the school earlier in the week.
Well, we all want our kids and teachers to be safe in the classroom.
Denver 7's Jessica Crawford has looked into a special agency here in Colorado, Jessica, that is dedicated to school safety.
Yes, and really the big focus here for the Colorado School Safety Resource Center is assessing threats before they become a bigger problem. Just last month, the Colorado School Safety Resource Center released crisis response guidelines for schools. These guidelines are for all different types of incidents. They're not just for school shootings. And it calls for schools to identify school safety and crisis team members. Those teams include administrators, mental health professionals, nurses, and anyone else with emergency expertise. It also gives guidance for schools on conducting multiple drills per year and creating lockdown, communication, and reunification plans. One of the most important parts of these guidelines, though, is identifying that threat before it becomes too late.
They have law enforcement officers, if there are such in the school or in the community. They have mental health providers as well as school administrators that take a look at any student that they feel may be at risk of doing something violent in the school and figuring out what kinds of resources can they put in place to prevent that child from moving forward on a pathway to violence.
Director Christine Harm said that she would love to see every classroom in Colorado have a door that can lock with a push button from the inside. She told me that in some schools, though, doors only lock from the outside with keys. And she said that the improvement can be expensive for schools, and she hopes to see more school security disbursement funds from the state in the future. I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, I mean, many have also pointed to youth mental health as a crisis fueling violence. Now, Denver Public Schools will soon require each of its schools to set aside 20 minutes a day dedicated to students' emotional health.
Denver 7's Veronica Acosta visited a school that has had a mental health program in place for 5 years now. And Veronica, teachers say this time has made all the difference, especially after remote learning returned.
It has. Some students were just a little bit different after spending nearly 2 years learning from home, and teachers say this dedicated time has really helped. Over at New Lawn Elementary School, students get 45 minutes, and those 45 minutes there are entirely dedicated to their social and emotional learning. They get 30 minutes in the morning, and then they get 15 minutes in the afternoon, and soon the state's largest school district, we're talking 90,000 students, are going to be able to have at least some of this time where they can really talk about whatever they need to talk about.
We ask them things as simple as, how are you doing today? Are you ready to learn? And then we also go a little bit deeper into some of the challenges they face at the playground. What are the conflicts you have? How can we solve them? And really going through steps so that they have tools to use.
In Mrs. Etter's 4th grade classroom and in other New Lawn Elementary classes, students start the day by sitting in a circle. They take the time to talk about what they want to accomplish for the day. They discuss any issues they may be having outside of that classroom. They even choose words from a contract that they come up with at the start of the year to describe how they plan on approaching that day. At New Lawn, students also have had social emotional learning time for 5 years now. The school psychologist has been along during that entire journey, and she told me she's seen a difference in students and wants others in the district to also have this opportunity.
I do think, coming back from the pandemic, we saw that this really was a much more significant need than it had been in previous years. And so we're really putting priority and emphasis on it now.
And district officials told me the expectation going into this next year is that every single school in Denver Public Schools will implement at least 20 minutes of a student's day to social and emotional learning. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Thank you, Veronica. We will continue to follow the latest out of Texas as well. There is a memorial fund for the victims. We'll have more on that in our next half hour. You can also follow the news on the denverchannel.com and Denver 7 Plus app.
The unofficial start of summer is this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. We're looking ahead to the busiest time to be on the roads and where gas prices stand right now.
Plus, if you already missed ski season, you can take a piece of one resort home with you.